Thank you, Dave. Tonight's game available on TSN HD and at 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround Sound. TSN is Canada's sports leader in high definition. Well, we're ready for the Labor Day rematch on a cool evening at Commonwealth. We had a thunderstorm roll through here a couple of hours ago, but it's cleared up nicely. And it should be a good night for a brat and a football game. Tom Higgins Stampeders trying to sweep the three-game set with Edmonton and this Labor Day series for the first time since 1998, while Danny Machoch's Eskimos have lost 4 of 5, but they can pull even again with the Stampeders for third place in the Western Division. So it's really a critical game for Edmonton.
Without question, especially the fact that it's played here on 3 days rest. They've talked to a lot of alumni over the last couple of weeks who have said and played in this series, and they said the first game on Labor Day is about X's and O's. Game 2 is all about the physical aspect of the game of football. This is when it gets down, it gets rough. The Edmonton Eskimos always play better here at Commonwealth.
So we are set to head into the back nine of the Canadian Football League season. Sandro DeAngelis to kick it with Bradley and Tompkins awaiting. And the short kick taken on one hop by Tony Tompkins. And TNT lunging to the 34 to set things up for Ricky Ray and the Eskimos offense.
Well, this team may be struggling, but Ricky Ray certainly hasn't. On pace for over 5,000 yards passing on the season. He needs some help from the supporting cast, and that starts in the tailback position. Tyler Ebell has a great average, just hasn't seen the ball enough. That average at 6.1 yards per carry. Ricky Ray gets Jason Tucker back. He's missed 4 starts, had to get some cartilage shaved in that knee. And there is the offensive line with Roundtree playing at the guard. Patrick Kabongo at tackle beside him.
First play of the game, and Ricky Ray will toss it out to Kamal Peterson. And Peterson makes a miss. He could score. Foot race. Kamal Peterson tripped up, and he's out at the 12. Dwayne Carpenter saves a touchdown. What a start for the green and gold. 64 yards.
That's the type of play that the Edmonton Eskimos have been missing. The supporting cast around Ricky Ray. He delivers this simple out throw to the sideline to Kamal Peterson, and Peterson hurdles the first attempted tackle right there from J.R. Ruffin. Then it is a foot race. Now, Carpenter has to take a chance because Kamal Peterson was pulling away. He takes it right there. And does he step out of bounds? Very close to that sideline, but once the whistle blows, the play stops.
And there on the chalk. But it is 64 yards, his biggest play of the season. And a real comeback season for Kamal Peterson. First down, flag down, Tyler Ebell off the right side. And has a couple of yards brought down by Brian Clark, who was not in the lineup on Labor Day. Glenn Johnson is in charge of proceedings tonight. And the penalty against the Eskimos.
Is that the start the Edmonton Eskimos?
Edmonton number 84. 5-yard penalty will repeat first down.
At the start they needed or what? I mean, after having a lead or playing well in the first half and then blowing in the second half against this Calgary defense that gets Karan Williams back in the middle the last couple of weeks. You mentioned Brian Clark. He's back in the linebacking core, had an infection in his knee that has cleared up and he's fine. They say the best player on defense this year has been Brandon Browner, who has 3 forced fumbles, which is among the lead leaders.
J.R. Ruffin back in the lineup, first time this year, 1st and 15. Out of the backfield comes Ebell, and he will step out at the 11, close to the original line of scrimmage.
You know, you mentioned Kamal Peterson and that play he made. Kamal Peterson coming into this game is the Edmonton Eskimos leader in the receiving corps. And I've talked about DJ Flick in Saskatchewan being a guy that's probably one of the comeback players of the CFL this year. I think Kamal Peterson is right up there as one of the comeback players. You know, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. And he came into this season and he had enough of people telling him that he dropped too many passes, and he's showing that he is a very capable receiver. What a big play to start this game.
8th in the league in receiving. 2nd down. Ray into the end zone and overthrows TJ Acree, but a flag down. Kranz Clemens was in coverage for the Stamps.
And that was with the ball in the air.
Acree, who had the big 75-yard play, but the ball batted out of his hands as he approached the end zone last week by Brandon Browner.
TJ
Illegal
Acree.
contact on a receiver, Calgary number 32. Will go half the distance to the goal line and a first down.
Corner Kranz Clemens is called on illegal contact, so that happens before the ball is thrown. The flags came out late with the ball in the air, but the penalty occurred before that ball was thrown. Everything looks fine at that point in the play, but illegal contact made by Kranz Clemens right there, who was in coverage on TJ Acree.
So the jumbo offense in, the twin tight ends, 1st and goal from the 5 after the penalty. And Ray looks one way, and now T. George in pursuit. Ricky Ray just throws the ball away. T. George, the defensive end who had 3 sacks on Monday and now has 6 on the year in limited duty.
Well, the guy that Ricky Ray wanted to go to is the guy that he often does down in this area, and that's Jason Tucker back in the lineup. It's Tucker time when they get inside of that 30-yard line. He often runs that corner route, and he draws double coverage. Trey Young from the safety takes him over the top. Ricky Ray has nowhere to throw on that side. Tucker was well covered.
So it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Bunch formation to the short side of the field. Ray looked that way, and again, 2nd option, end zone, and incomplete.
Tucker fell.
And Jason Tucker did lose his footing deep in the end zone.
Brian Clark ended up way back there from his linebacking core, almost like the veteran Brian Clark knew that Tucker would be the target. He's open initially. Tucker's going down towards the end zone. He breaks open right there, but Ricky Ray had been rolling to his left. That's where Tucker stumbles. The ball ends up bouncing about 3 yards in front of him. Brian Clark right there in coverage. He went a long way back to help out his secondary.
So Sean Fleming comes on. Eskimos have to settle for a 3-point attempt. LaFleur's the holder, and Fleming puts it through. So Dwayne Carpenter saves 4 points. Eskimos lead by 3. That'll be interesting to see how different it is tonight as Marcus Howell brings it back to the 35. And Henry Burris, who had 382 yards through the air on Monday and 4 touchdown passes, as we set the Stampeder offense for you.
Joffrey Reynolds is the tailback behind Henry Burris, or Reynolds and Burris 1 and 2 rushing for that football team. Receiving core is really solidified since they stabilized it and stopped the rotation. Nick Lewis is the leader with 570 yards, but they're saying that Rambo is the guy that's making those tough catches. Of course, Labor Day, Thelwell, 199 yards in that game. Lazio moves to center for John Comiskey. Lazio turned out to be pretty good in that trade with Wes Cates for the Calgary Stampeders. He had to play for Jay McNeil for a few games. Now he moves into the center spot, so he's been Mr. Versatility on the O-line.
Starting lineups are brought to you by Holiday Inn Hotels. Mike Bradley shaken up on the kick coverage for the Eskimos. Could be a very important guy tonight because Tyler Ebell is the starting running back, and Ebell's had a sore shoulder. Bradley backing him up, and now he's been nicked. You mentioned John Comiskey not in the lineup, but Dan Comiskey out of the lineup for the Eskimos. 2 of the real warriors in the trenches on either side unavailable. And Danny Machocha's lost Dan Comiskey for the year. He tore a tricep in the game on Monday and actually finished the game, played the 4th quarter with the injury.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what the problem is. It almost looks like wind. When you get the wind knocked out of you, you get on all fours like that, try and get that wind back.
Bradley shaking it off, and be a lot of wear and tear on the bodies after this one is over. This is as tough a week as there is in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you have just 3 days to prepare, basically, and They take the bus back, they get back into Edmonton, and then they have to go at it again. And I talked to a lot of the alumni who played in this game twice. Mentioned it off the top, but one of them was Ed Hervey, who's just down the booth with the Eskimos here. He said that this is the physical game in the matchup. The first one is about X's and O's and game plans and all of that and execution. This one becomes physical because the guys have to get over that hump. Everyone's tired. Both teams are tired. Both teams are banged up. Both teams are hurt. But right around, like Danny McManus said, about halftime, they start to shake that off. It becomes very physical. And boy, the both teams desperate for a win for different reasons.
Well, the Eskimos got the jump last year. AJ Gass told us yesterday this one's all on adrenaline. Eskimos led 16-0 last year, but Henry Burris led the Stamps back. Take the lead before Edmonton finally won out. And again, Henry Burris using his legs to have the Eskimos defense off guard. 7 carries, 59 yards against the Eskimo defense on Monday.
They simply need to get more pressure, that defense up front, and that's where this front four comes in. Raheem Abdullah leads the team up front with 4 sacks. After that, Ron Warner 2, and that's it from the front four. They need more pressure there. They got to blitz some of these guys. AJ Gass, Shannon Garrett, or Shadiq Shabazz from the linebacking core. We talked about the secondary. Morgan's back in, and Samuels.
Burris got 7. He's the 7th leading rusher in the league. 2nd and 3. Looking for Copeland. Incomplete. It's a 2-and-out to start for the Stamps.
But that was the type of defense that really hurt Edmonton last week or in the Labor Day game, because that time Samuels was right on his man and Morgan had taken the deep threat. So on Monday, Burris looked up and saw 2 open receivers. Early in this game, he looked up and saw 2 covered receivers. That's a big difference, and that's why the veterans are being asked to play probably before they're ready to.
TJ Acree and Tony Tompkins have dropped deep. There's Duncan O'Mahony in his 3rd game for the Stampeders as their punter. And this is why. Well, that one is out of bounds. He's been good at hitting them inside the numbers, but that's a flag against Calgary. The Eskimos had the option, take the ball at the 36 or make Duncan O'Mahony punt again. It was a 33-yarder out of bounds the first time. And O'Mahony with a better kick. Let's see if Tompkins can give them better field position with a return. No dice. Great coverage downfield. Matt Grudegood with the tackle and a 51-yard punt. Well, the happiest guy in Edmonton is Ricky Ray because he has his #1 target back.
Having Jason back is going to help us out. The things he can do with the football after he gets it, and the routes that he runs, and also he's going to open up bigger windows for the other guys. So defense is going to pay a little bit more attention to him, and the other thing too is that consistency. He's one of the guys that can deliver one of those sparks that we're looking for, and when things aren't going well, if he can make a big play for us, he can get things going.
Jason Tucker missed 4, said he probably should have missed more than that with the knee injury. And in trouble, Ray goes down. There is a penalty marker. Tay George with another sack, but flags down on the play.
See what the flag is. Ricky Ray will move Jason Tucker around in the formation to try and get him the ball. He'll play him at slot back. That's his normal spot, often on the short side. That last play, they moved Jason Tucker to the wide receiver position to the wide side of the field in an attempt to find other ways to get him the ball.
Illegal substitution, Calgary number 37. That's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Mark Kalist called on the illegal substitution.
And I talked about the combination that there's been some great ones throughout the CFL. You can think back to, when you look at Danny McManus, Darren Flutie, a great combination, that 1-2 punch. You got Ben Cahoon and Anthony Calvillo, Montreal currently. Ricky Ray and Jason Tucker is that combination, and they've missed that for 4 straight weeks.
Ball on the 41 and Patrick Kabongo out of his stance too quickly. And that's procedure against the Edmonton Eskimos. And when Patrick Kabongo moves quickly, everybody notices.
Edmonton number 56, 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
He just has to lean forward, and he looks like he is offside.
That's a revamped offensive line. Kevin Lefsrud And Dan Komisky, the starting guards at the outset of the season, both unavailable. Rhett McLean in at left guard. 1st and 15. And Ray sets up the screen to Ebel. Tyler Ebel, high stepping to a first down and out at the Calgary bench. 18 yards for Ebel.
Like the call here because the Eskimos go with a bunch formation to the right side and then they screen the ball to the opposite side of the field, knowing you see the bunch formation here. Now the Calgary Stampeders have to bring over that many cover men to compensate for that formation, and then Edmonton screens to the opposite side of the field and have more room because of it.
Eskimos go no huddle, first down. And Ray back to pass, a quick hitter in the flat, Matt Bertrand. Unable to bring it in. Cornelius Anthony in coverage on the fullback out of the backfield. Matt Bertrand.
You mentioned Tyler Ebel, who just caught that little screen pass early in the game, and you know his numbers probably aren't as impressive. Remember, he kind of went in and out with Ron McClendon early in the year, and really didn't get the reps that everyone thought he should until McClendon himself went into Danny Machoch and said, you know, he's pretty good. Maybe we should play Tyler Ebel a little more.
You know, it's a funny stat because Ebel's been more productive, but they have yet to win with Ebel. Just the one tie on his start against Winnipeg. Here's Ebel taking the pass over the middle, upended. A couple of yards short of the first down. Well, Scott Coe with the tackle.
Matt Dunnigan mentioned it in the pregame show, and I think it's worth repeating it, that Ebel's numbers, because of a lot of reasons, maybe aren't as impressive as some of the backs in the league, but he is still that kind of player. You see it all the time with his effort. You see him make people miss and break tackles. That time he went up over the top to get every inch he could. And remember, you mentioned earlier, he's playing hurt. He's probably about 2 games away from when he should be playing, and he's in there because he knows he has to be.
You mentioned, we talked to him yesterday. He looked pretty stiff.
Yeah, he wasn't
saying,
moving
I'm
well.
fine, but you could tell. Fleming will try and pin the Stamps deep. It'll be Marcus Howell letting it bounce right in front of him. Howell with a couple of fumbles on returns. Gets the no yards against Edmonton, but they'll be starting deep. Ricky Ray has 4 receivers to the wide side, but a handoff up the middle to Ebel. Wrestled down quickly by the newcomer, John Siptak, making his Stampeder debut.
You look at this season for the Edmonton Eskimos, and you sure can't point fingers at Ricky Ray. And right now, I would say the Edmonton Eskimos so far in 2007 have an all-star quarterback on what's been an average team, and he still puts up big numbers, Ricky Ray. In fact, we mentioned his pace coming into this game this evening. Ricky Ray is on pace for over 5,000 yards passing again. That would be his 2nd best total as an Edmonton Eskimo. You can look at the completion percentage, and his touchdown to interception ratio very good as well. You know, Ricky Ray continues to be an elite quarterback in the CFL. He just needs that help. We saw Kamal Peterson make that play early on, and since then it started to slow down again.
So he's 3rd in the league in passing yards. He's 2nd in touchdown passes. He's on pace for his 2nd best season, and he's done it for half of this season so far without his best receiver, which makes some people think this is as well as he's ever played.
Yeah, maybe his best season, and yet when you look at the win-loss records, a lot of Eskimo fans wouldn't agree with it.
Tate George was shaken up on the last play. A 2-yard pickup by Ebel. 2nd and 8. Flag down. Ray over the middle. Gaylor with the catch. And he's brought down by J.R. Ruffin. He'd have a first down, but let's find out about the flag and were the Eskimos offside.
I'm not sure if the Eskimos drew the Calgary Stampeder D line offside, but they certainly jumped. It looked to me like Ricky Ray used that snap count to draw the defense off.
May have been the newcomer, Siptak.
Offside, Calgary. That penalty's declined. First down.
And so a 12-yard gain to Gaylor will stand.
Trevor Gaylor comes right across here underneath that zone defense. He's in the middle of the three receivers to the formation. See him cut underneath Kamal Peterson, and that causes the bubble and a little bit of room that he needs.
Eskimos showing a lot of motion so far. Hurry up, and they'll swing it here. Ebell. Did he get a block? Tyler Ebell. Another first down to the 29. Tackle made by J.R. Ruffin.
You know, offenses are set up so that everybody contributes. Jason Tucker here, watch how he's really not running a route. He's just coming down and getting in the way of any linebacker that might want to come across, because in behind him, here's the throw to Tyler Ebell. It comes out of the backfield. Tucker has set up the pick, so it takes a while for Calgary to rally to that tackle.
4 catches for Ebell already, 30 on the year. And now a play fake to Ebell, and wide open Mike Maurer. The backup fullback has a catch, pushed out by Brandon Browner. Close to another Edmonton first down.
Scott Coe's the guy who's going to bite hard, and you know, they got Ebell right here in the backfield. Now he's going to go in this direction. Watch here on Scott Coe. Watch how he gets sucked into play action. Coe gets up the field. The Edmonton Eskimos have no play, but he comes down sharp towards Ebell. That gives Ray the outside and the ability to drop it into Maurer.
Played 10 minutes. Ricky Ray, 130 yards passing already. And first and 10 at the Calgary 18. 5 receivers set, but the give is to Ebell. Big hole, left side, and then brought down by Clements, the corner.
Well, and we felt like Tyler Ebell might get the ball a little more for a few reasons. One is that he hasn't for the reasons we mentioned earlier so far this year, so they know they want to compensate there and fill in and get some more runs for him, but also because he's playing against a defense that ranks 7th against the run in the CFL against the Calgary Stampeders. That was a DB making the tackle, Tyler Ebell.
Yes, the number 7 run defense against the number 8 rush offense. 5 for Ebell, 2nd and 5 from the 13. And that pass is caught and held by Peterson and rocked by Dwayne Carpenter, who's had an impact on this first quarter.
Well, he mentioned it, saved 4 points. Kamal Peterson and him now talking back and forth. Peterson letting them know that he didn't get hurt by it there. He sits back in the zone, but he's going to come up on the ball when it's thrown in a hurry. Kamal Peterson runs that little out, and here he comes right in the middle of the back. Peterson hangs on.
Can't time that any better, can you?
No, you can't. That's the perfect way to play it. Carpenter was the guy who saved a touchdown for Kamal Peterson the very first play of the game. Eskimos had to settle for 3 points there.
Well, the guy who was victimized in overtime in that 45-45 tie with BC makes a play there, but it is enough for a first down. First and goal, Eskimos at the 7. Ebell again, straight ahead, brought down at the 3-yard line. And T. George has another tackle.
It seems to me that the first part of this game, the Edmonton Eskimos have controlled the football. I mean, Calgary Stampeders have had a couple of chances at it. They've been 2 and out, and it's been all Edmonton. They have dominated the time of possession.
Danny Machocha has to like what he sees. And what did Tom Higgins say? What happens on Monday doesn't have any impact on what happens on Friday. We've seen that so far. 2nd and goal from the 3. Can the Eskimos cash? Play fake to Ebell. Touchdown, Matthew Bertrand.
Calgary Stampeders, once you get down to the goal line, they have to pinch, and that's where Ricky Ray is getting outside because he's play actioning down into Ebell, and he's getting outside because of it. The Calgary Stampeders need to pinch when they're that close to the goal line, and Bertrand wide open from the fullback spot.
Stamps made them settle for a field goal the first time in the red zone. Not this time. Fleming gets the extra point. Over 2 minutes to go. First quarter, 10-0 Eskimos. Bertrand with his first ever receiving touchdown in the CFL.
He does a nice job of where he lines up, getting the proper angle on the linebacker that had to cover him for the Calgary Stampeders.
All Eskimos so far. Remember last year they led 16-0 in the rematch. Calgary came back. Marcus Howell steps out. 8 plays, 56 yards, and the Bertrand touchdown.
Let me show you Bertrand's where he lines up. There he is right there. And look how Cornelius Anthony is protecting the outside here. And in doing so is given it about a 2-yard gap there. Bertrand's going to come out of the backfield in that direction. And Anthony can't catch up. He's the guy who's got to cover him. And he's in a chase position from the beginning. And Ricky Ray puts that throw right on the money. And by the way, this is a very difficult throw to make for quarterbacks. They don't have a big target to look at, and he drops it right in the hands of Bertrand.
Henry Burris trying to kickstart this offense. A pair of 2-and-outs to start the game. Joffrey Reynolds and A.J. Gass right there at the 38 to stop Reynolds in his tracks.
Well, here's a guy who loves this game. You talk about it's all about adrenaline. It's all about how bad do you want it. It's all about trying to fight through injuries and fight through all the adversity. Well, all those things, that's A.J. Gass as a football player, and he's the first guy to put his hat right there on Joffrey Reynolds.
Limits Reynolds to 4, 2nd and 6. And the Grambo over the line got back. And Burris throwing to Copeland for a first down at the 45-yard line. The initial first down for the Stamps.
Well, this is becoming more important every time. You look at the score at 10-0, and now Calgary Stampeders, Henry Burris trying to lean on his guy, which is Copeland. Stumbles a little bit and still comes up with that catch, but it hasn't been as easy for the Calgary receivers in this one, with a little more experience in the secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Stanford Samuels wasn't confirmed to play until about an hour and a half before game time. There's the play fake to Reynolds, and Burris throws downfield complete. And the hero of Labor Day Monday with 199 yards and 2 touchdowns, Ryan Thelwell, has the catch.
Well, big play by Thelwell. What a breakout game that he had. You know, a lot of people were wondering what was wrong with Ryan Thelwell. He was a good receiver for the BC Lions, moves over to the Calgary Stampeders this year, and in the first half of the season, or at least the first 8 games of the season, had about 170 yards or so, and then broke out with 199 on Labor Day. Like you mentioned, maybe he's back.
More yards on Labor Day than the first 8 games of the season. 29 on that one, and a flag down as Copeland with the catch is dropped close to another first down at the 23-yard line. See what the flag's all about. It's going against Calgary.
It's more like the Henry Burris that we saw on Labor Day, starting to get the offense moving.
Illegal block, hands to the face, Calgary number 68. It's a 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
That's the center, Rob Lazio, replacing John Comiskey. Henry Burris was saying the hardest thing right now for Calgary on offense is just to get going, because once they get their rhythm, they've been virtually unstoppable for the last few weeks.
Well, in the Labor Day game, they fumbled the ball away a couple of times early on. That kept Edmonton real close, and then broke away in the second half, outscoring the Eskimos 20-3 in the second half on Labor Day.
10-yard penalty makes it 1st and 20. Picked off! Intercepted by Jason Goss. He's got his 3rd of the year on the final play of the opening quarter, which has been dominated by the green and gold.
Look at the time of possession, 10 minutes to 5.
Eskimos with 17 points on Monday off turnovers, get the first one of the game, and it's just the 6th interception for Edmonton all year. Jason Goss has half of them.
Yeah, it's been a problem for Edmonton, not only, covering receivers coming out on the opposition, but also turning the football over. That's the next step. They haven't got the pressure up front they'd like. Jason Goss gets them on the board.
You mentioned Jason Goss from TCU. There might be a theme tonight. Texas Christian.
Well, we know one of the stars from TCU is back in the Canadian Football League. Congratulations to the Hamilton Tiger Cats signing Casey Printers. Great to have Casey Printers back in the CFL, and Jason Goss was a teammate of Casey Printers at TCU, along with LaDainian Tomlinson.
And a previous edition of the Horned Frog squad included Jason Tucker. Here's Ricky Ray going to Gaylord. Flag down, catch made, check that, that's Jason Tucker with the catch.
Well, and the fact that Tucker's uniform is off his shoulder pads may be what the flags are about.
So we've got a back-to-back big plays by
TCU.
TCU.
And I think Tucker was telling me before the game that he played 1 year with Tomlinson, but that must have been some kind of team down there at TCU with Casey Printers at quarterback leading the team there, Danian Tomlinson leading the rushing department. You had Jason Tucker early on in that process, and then
illegal
Jason Goss.
contact on a receiver, Calgary. That penalty's declined. Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 27. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Brandon Browner and the Stampeders, who've averaged 120 yards a game in penalties, having penalty trouble early.
And this is the play that the Edmonton Eskimos have been missing over the last few weeks. The ability to stretch the defense a little bit. There's across the middle, and you can see the face masking call there. It wasn't Brown,
wasn't Browner.
Carpenter.
It was Carpenter, 29, not 27, but it is a first down at the 16-yard line. 24-yard play, 15-yard penalty. And Ray behind Gaylord, incomplete. Well, let's take a look at how Ricky Ray and the offense got the ball back.
Jason Goss gets the ball back because he sits on this route to the left side of the formation, and Henry Burris doesn't believe that he's going to sit in there. He basically jumps it right there. I believe it was Nick Lewis, and I talked to Rick Campbell before the game about Goss. I said, what does he bring to the table? He said, he's real bright. He watches a lot of film, and you can play him in every position. The guy's a smart player, plays with the shoulders up is how he plays the game.
2nd and 10. Ray looking into the end zone, and Tucker stretched out, couldn't bring it in, with Calvin Bannister in coverage. 3rd trip to the red zone, and for the 2nd time, the Eskimos will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Well, just getting to the red zone for Edmonton this year has been tough, especially over the last 3 games. This is where Tucker will always run that corner route, and Bannister knows it. He gets beat off the line of scrimmage, but recovers to make it a tough throw for Ricky Ray. He had to throw it over Bannister, over Tucker, and try and drop it in there, and Tucker couldn't run under it.
Sean Fleming was perfect on Labor Day, 3 for 3. Actually got a second chance on one after a late hit by Browner. Makes it 2 for 2 in the rematch, adding to the Eskimo lead. Eskimos lead 13-0. They led 18-7 on Labor Day. And a handoff straight ahead. Raheem Abdullah, the former Stampeder, with the tackle on Joffrey Reynolds. Henry Burris, a slow start on Monday, but boy, did he light it up.
Well, it was his 4th best performance as a Calgary Stampeder. All the games that he has started for them at 382 yards passing. He also ran the ball effectively and dissected a very inexperienced Edmonton defense at the time. 199 yards to Ryan Thelwell. It has been different in the rematch for Henry Burris.
6th time in 9 games, he has 300 yards against Edmonton as a Calgary quarterback. A completion to Rambo here, but you're right. The 3 that weren't his 300-yard games, 2 of them were the Labor Day rematches.
Yeah, he's been dominant on Labor Day, and then when you look at the rematch, it's been a very different story. 3 times he's played the Labor Day Classic, including Monday, and look at the numbers. Averaging 335, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The 2 rematch, this being the 3rd, those numbers plummet. His worst game as a pro was in the rematch here in Edmonton a couple of years back. Remember, 1 year he also injured his thumb, his throwing hand in one of these games.
Burris under pressure, and that ball hops short of the intended target, Nick Lewis. Eskimos with a little heat that time, and they haven't had much on Henry Burris. They certainly didn't on Monday with no sacks.
He said to us yesterday, Burris, that this game was so important for him and for the football team if they wanted to get that respect around the league. There's A.J. Gass. Because they were saying that, you know, we're playing well. Our offense is moving the football. Henry Burris over 6 games in a row, over 300 yards passing. But to get the respect, they got to win here in Edmonton.
2nd and 10. Here comes pressure. Burris just got it away and has a completion to Brett Ralph. Jason Goss over there. And Ralph is out close to the first down stick.
Some kind of throw for Burris there. He had a defender right in his lap, and he really strong-armed that to the outside.
Kenny Anatolu, number 44, with the pressure.
Yeah, you saw him sneak through the middle there, and that's a tough throw to make when you got a linebacker in your lap. Anatolu, and he strong-arms it as he's getting hit.
Turns out to be an 11-yard gain for number 11, Brett Ralph, the Raymond, Alberta product. So the Stamps have a fresh set of downs for Joffrey Reynolds. Great cut. Reynolds into the secondary and down to the 31. 16 for Joffrey Reynolds.
Defensively, you try to sell out to the point of attack so badly that Joffrey Reynolds is patient on the run. Rather than go to the point of attack, which is the left side, this is the cut he makes on natural grass to cut across the grain like that around the outstretched hands of Rob Brown, and breaks into the open field.
Jason Goss has been shaken up on the play after the first down run by Reynolds. We'll take a timeout here at Commonwealth. So Jason Goss, the latest to be nicked in that battered Eskimo secondary. 1st and 10, the long out, and it's complete over there to Nick Lewis, and Lewis draws a crowd, and he was instrumental in the Jason Goss injury.
Yeah, Nick Lewis made a block on Jason Goss. It's going to happen just to the left of your screen as Joffrey Reynolds cuts back across the grain here, and Lewis to the left, right there. That's where the hit happens. You can see Jason Goss goes down. He never got up from that hit, now is on the bench, so that secondary has to make more adjustments.
First trip to the red zone for the Stamps, who had 3 touchdowns and a field goal in 4 trips Monday. Joffrey Reynolds, door slammed quickly as he's tossed down. Ron Warner, the defensive tackle.
Injuries in the secondary mean that the front 7 really have to pick up their game, because that's where you can compensate. Pressure on the quarterback will always trump a secondary in the way that they play. So if your secondary is strong but you have no pass rush, doesn't matter. If your secondary is weakened, you better get a pass rush.
Well, that causes a chain reaction. Flowers for Goss off the corner. LaRose moves to the corner. Loftus in safety. And pressure on Burris. And they get him. Kenny Anatolu with the sack. As the Eskimos have dialed up the pressure here in the rematch.
Well, they didn't disguise it. They put Anatolu right up in the line of scrimmage. And sometimes when you line up there, you decide you're going to drop. Not this time. Anatolu is going to go. He's going to hesitate a step, wait for the blockers to pick up their men, and then he hits the open gap. That's the 2nd time he's been free to Henry Burris. One time he got the ball out of there. That time, not so much.
Eskimos tied for last with Hamilton coming into this week in sacks. Just the 18th sack of the year. For the green and gold, DeAngelis comes on to attempt a 25-yarder. And Sandro puts it through. Stamps are on the board, trailing 13-3. Who has the best field goal percentage in the league, getting Calgary on the board and getting set to kick off to Tony Tompkins. Short kick. One of the up men takes it. That's Rob Brown. And he'll cover up, and Eskimos will have good field position across the 40-yard line.
Scouting, a little scouting from the Calgary Stampeders. They saw that Rob Brown was lined up there in that position on the kickoff return team, decided to kick it right to him, but the sure-handed Rob Brown, who also has a catch offensively, I believe.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
Eskimo scrimmage at their own 43. And it's Ebel to the 50. Brought down by the safety, Trey Young.
Ebel way bigger part of this offense in this game than he has been in the last few. He's lined up in that tailback spot. You've seen how Ricky Ray has used play action with Ebel a few times to influence the Calgary defense, and then they go back. Once they know that, now they go back and give him the football, and they've got that defense guessing a little bit.
2nd and 3, over the middle, completion and a first down. Andrew Nowacki brought down by Krantz Clemens, but Nowacki will move the yardsticks.
That's what's tough about the bunch formation. The bunch formation to the right of Ricky Ray. Nowacki is the outside receiver on it. He's outside here, but he ends up being the inside guy, and you're going to see the other two receivers cross up the secondary. It's very difficult to decide quickly who you're going to get. Nowacki shoots right across the middle from the outside spot, and Krantz Clemens in a chase position.
Eskimos going no huddle again here. 14 to Nowacki, and the officials are going to confer. Danny, why is no huddle being deployed, and why is it so effective?
Well, I think just because it's a short week, you're trying to wear down the Calgary defensive line, make them run all up and down the field, and now you have the advantage. You can either start running the football, pounding in like we saw Ebel earlier on this drive, or their pass rush is not as effective, and that'll give Ricky Ray a lot more time in the pocket to look downfield.
Calgary is challenging that the player did not catch the football. I'll review the play.
Danny Machocha wondering why Tom Higgins threw the challenge flag.
Well, let's take a look at it again. Andrew Nowacki coming right across the middle.
It was a 2nd and 3 play.
You can see him just to the right of your screen. He cuts underneath. Catch is made there.
And the ball comes loose, and did he survive contact? And
well, the ball came loose, it looked like, when he hit the ground. I mean, he's got it there and he's running with it, and now it comes out as he goes down. I mean, that was 2 or 3 steps with the football. And he survived the impact from Krantz Clemens. That's the question here. Is it's the bang bang plays they talk about, the one where the guy catches it and then gets hit, and that looks like a catch to me. I mean, Andrew Nowacki survived the impact from Clemens, took another 2 steps, and then as he's going down the ground, the ball comes out. Now the whistle had blown, so they can't rule it a fumble after the fact, but I think that's a catch.
so Glenn Johnson's gone under the hood. And if nothing else, it certainly slows down the Eskimos, who are trying to put some heat on with the no huddle.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's one of the reasons Tom Higgins decided to challenge it, even though.
But that ball comes out awfully late.
Yeah, that's a catch. I mean, the only reason I could see the challenge being thrown is they wanted to stop the momentum.
Upon review, the player did not survive contact with the ground. Therefore, the ruling is overturned and it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down on the 50-yard line.
Well, Jock Climby's talked about this a lot, and we have seen this before, and I think it's taking the interpretation to the extreme.
No, that's a catch, because this comes across the middle. The idea is you have to survive contact from the player or the ground. That's 3-4 steps. Then he goes down. I mean, that's a catch.
And Danny Machocha's incensed. And again, they have been relatively consistent on this call, but that's the extreme to say that that's no catch. And Tom Higgins with a valuable challenge.
Well, he knows how it's been called, but that is way extreme. I mean, that's a catch. Survived contact from the player, took another 2 steps, went down to the ground, and then the ball comes out after he's on the ground. That is not having to survive impact with the player or the ground. That's just flat out a catch. And I think that even the officials at times, there is some confusion in the interpretation and how strict you can be on this. It's been debated all season. It was debated last season. I would suggest the debate will heat up a little more after a play like that.
Well, this is interesting. Have the Eskimos now challenged the same call? They want Glenn Johnson back under. I'm not sure we've seen this before. 2 challenges, same play. And maybe we're not going to see that. Johnson briefly looked like he was going under the hood.
It's 3rd down. I incorrectly announced 2nd down. It's 3rd down.
Okay, that's why he went back to confirm the down.
And that's fair for the officials. They can go back and go upstairs to find out exactly where the ball was, where it should be marked, because once the play happens and then the challenge, they have to get the accurate reading as to where it was and what down it was. That's fine.
And there's no point in challenging the challenge because he's made his decision.
You can't overrule the overrule.
That's not going to change Danny Bachoch's mind, though, and he remains incensed. It was 2nd and 3 when that non-completion was made, and so it's 3rd down, and Marcus Howell with the return across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
Eskimos a little tight. That ball goes right off his head. But Jason Goss was on the sideline riding the bike to warm up. You see him peek back to the quarterback? I think that saved him from drawing the flag.
Warner out on a Tolo in this passing situation. They show blitz and a lot of movement. And now they'll debate who moved first. And it is procedure, Calgary.
Procedure, Calgary number 50. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
You know, Danny Bachocha said yesterday that he wasn't getting enough pass rush. He told us that the rush was a problem, that 4-man pressure just wasn't happening. And one of the ways that you can increase the pressure is to blitz. You leave your secondary out there hanging on their own if you do blitz, but I've seen way more blitz from Edmonton in this game than I have in a couple.
Jay McNeil flinch, so the penalty sets up 2nd and 15. Here comes the pressure again, and Burris scampers, directs traffic, and looks for Thelwell, who's got it, and then dropped it. Separated from the ball on an enormous hit by Stanford Samuels. And Samuels looks like he took the brunt of it.
Well, that is no catch, and that's why the rule's in place, because down the sideline, Ryan Thelwell, who catches this one after Burris scrambles to get outside, has to survive the impact from Stanford Samuels coming from the right of your screen, and he doesn't. That's why the rule is put in place, and that is the correct call. Incomplete. Thelwell has to hang on to that football even when he's on the ground. The one to Nowacki, that's a very different story.
So Samuels a little foggy after that huge hit. That was one heck of a football play from Burris, and then Samuels at the other end of it.
Well, we've seen that improvement immediately. Omar Morgan, we haven't heard from him because he's doing a nice job covering. And there's Jason Goss, who's made some plays. That's the veteran of 4 years in the CFL. And then Samuels, who missed last week, or Monday. So there you go. The secondary strengthening for the Edmonton Eskimos has made a huge difference in this rematch.
Eskimos lost Lenny Williams in that game Monday. He had an interception early, but a knee injury has him sidelined.
You see Omar Morgan come over there and say, Stanford, you have to play. We need you to play. That was what Morgan was saying. And let's take a look full speed at Samuels and Ryan Thelwell. It's nice discipline from Stanford Samuels. You know what he does? He stays in the middle of his zone defense. Even though the play is starting to break down, Samuels does not panic. Stays back there square, so when the ball does arrive to Ryan Thelwell, he's over there to make the hit. Looks like he's up and walking around.
So 3rd down, and O'Mani in to punt it away. Tompkins awaiting just inside his 40. Penalty marker as Tompkins dropped near the 50-yard line. Again, a penalty marker on the play. Rob Cote, one of the first men down for the Stamps. And let's sort out the flag. Going against Edmonton.
Holding. Edmonton, number 91. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Adam Braidwood called. Let's join Danny McManus inside the huddle.
On the last Calgary play, you saw the pressure that we got onto Henry Burris. What Edmonton is doing with their pass rush, they're bringing 4 guys to a side, and they're overloading the offensive line, leaving 1 guy free to go after Henry Burris, making him very uncomfortable in that pocket. This is exactly what Coach Machocha was looking for.
Interesting. To overload a side, you know, one of the ways to beat that is to roll away from the overloaded side. So we'll see as the coordinators go in at halftime the adjustments that they may make coming out in the second half.
Worst field position start for the Eskimos, their own 30-yard line. And Ricky Ray getting outside. Scott Coe in pursuit. And Ray scampers out of bounds at about the 36-yard line.
That's one of the plays that kind of goes with what Danny McManus said earlier about the hurry up and how Ricky Ray has run the hurry up. Jacques Chapdelaine obviously wanting to keep the pace, keep moving. They controlled the first quarter with long drives. This drive they want to keep it with that last series no huddle and tire out that defense for the Stamps.
So 6 for Ray, 2nd and 4. Bunch formation short side. Pressure, and they've got Ricky Ray. Ball's loose. Who's got it? Looks like Tay George. He does. The Stampeders with a fumble recovery, and Scott Coe and company celebrate the biggest play defensively for the Stamps. Coe with the forced fumble. George with the recovery.
A timing issue. Scott Coe lines up here, so Ricky Ray is not going to count him as a rusher, but what he does is come around the corner, and because it takes too long for receivers to open up for Ricky Ray, watch Scott Coe go all the way around, then he goes around Patrick Kabongo, and that's quite a trip, and gets right to Ricky Ray, who's still looking for an open receiver, and the Calgary Stampeders have the turnover.
Second forced fumble of the year for the University of Manitoba product, Scott Coe. Let's see if Burris can cash. He gets outside, takes off, inside the 10, and he'll step out at the 5-yard line.
And Burris will have to do this more. McManus told you that the Edmonton Eskimos are loading up. They're overloading a side, and that means that Burris now, his way to avoid that is to try and escape, to get to the outside either direction. On this play, it's going to be to his right as he kind of feels the overload. He feels it coming from his left side of the formation, so that will be his answer. And now he's got a huge running lane to go up and pick up a first down.
17 yards for Henry Burris, who entered the game 7th in CFL rushing. 1st and goal from the 4. Bobbled snap, and he's got to eat the football back at the 8-yard line. Raheem Abdullah pouncing on him, but Henry wasn't going anywhere.
No, and he had to recover that one. That's the downside of the shotgun snap, because you got to put your eyes on the coverage from the quarterback spot. And you can see Burris, look at him looking in this direction. Well, the ball is coming from down here. It's a little bit low, but he's looking to the right. As he calls for the football, the ball comes down low off his knees, and then he has to just recover it because it's a passing down either way.
Again, that's Rob Lazio replacing John Comiskey at center. The 10-year veteran. 2nd and goal from the 8. Henry Burris to the end zone. Incomplete. Broken up by Jason Flowers. Nick Lewis, the intended receiver, and he's a little slow to get up.
Pretty good protection for Burris, Nick Lewis is the middle guy on the 3-receiver, 4-receiver side. When you get Joffrey Reynolds involved, you're going to come all the way across. But Flowers tries to deny the middle. He makes a blind turn and won't quit, because right there, before he feels impact, he rips the ball out. Burris had time to throw. He put it on the money, but Flowers denied the completion.
So Calgary has to settle for a DeAngelis field goal attempt. He puts it through from 16 yards out. And it's now a 7-point game. Cost them 3. Now a 7-point lead. And Edmonton takes the ball on their own 35-yard line. 3.5 minutes to go. Ray has an open man, and there's Gaylor. And Dwayne Carpenter stops him in his tracks. Short of the first down.
It's one of the great traits for Ricky Ray is his ability to brush off a bad play and come back and just keep his composure, get right back in the huddle and start moving the offense again. That's one of the things that I think that most of the teams around the league admire about Ricky Ray and the players, is that if something bad happens, it doesn't matter to him. You will never tell by looking at him whether he just threw a touchdown pass or just got hit and fumbled the ball. Next time he comes on the field, he completes one for a first down.
And Gaylor's forward progress enough for the first down. And Ray will have one more play prior to the 3-minute warning.
You know, he was just over 500 yards shy of becoming the Edmonton Eskimo all-time leader, passing Warren Moon. And with his numbers, he might get there tonight.
Be a big night. Have to be over 500 yards, but it's been a good first half for Ricky Ray. Pressure again. Ray gets it away. And Kamau Peterson couldn't catch up with it. Ray had to hurry it with Trey Young, the safety, blitzing on the play. And will Ricky Ray be able to enhance this lead prior to the half? 2nd and 10 from the Edmonton 45-yard line. More pressure. Ray steps up. And Ricky Ray will be brought down short of the first down by Cornelius Anthony at the 53. He'll come up a couple of yards short.
It's in that area of the field, though, where teams, if they want to fake a kick, often will try right around midfield. It's less of a downside, although in a close game like this and in a matchup and a rivalry like this, the conservative punt the football is probably the best decision. But keep in mind, on Labor Day, the Edmonton Eskimos were up by 6 at halftime and were outscored 20-3 in the second half. So I agree with you, Chris, that the Eskimos seem to have dominated this first half a lot more, but it doesn't show on the scoreboard.
Oh, and now Calgary's going to have plenty of time for Henry Burris to go to work here. 2 minutes remaining, and the Stamps awaiting the football. Fleming's punt bouncing inside the numbers, and there's not going to be a return as it rolls out at the 17. A good 40-yard directional punt by Sean Fleming. Well, coming up, it's Wendy's at the half, where Dave, Matt, Jock, and Schultze will weigh in on what they've seen in the Labor Day rematch here at Commonwealth. I know Jock shaking his head about the Nowacki no catch.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that'll be well, it was a key play in the game so far. I mean, Edmonton had a drive going, and that challenge changed that. Calgary Stampeders have kept it close in halftime, as you mentioned, to move it down here and put some points on the board before the half.
First down for Henry Burris and company. The play fake to Reynolds, and looking deep for Brett Ralph, who couldn't reel it in. A stride too long for Brett Ralph.
You know, sometimes those receivers pop open and they hesitate for a second. And I often wonder, is it because they just don't think the quarterback who's rolling that side can just throw it that far, so they kind of wait for him? But that little hesitation cost Brett Ralph a catch. Just before you saw him come into your picture there, he had hesitated and took a little stutter step. Had he kept going full speed, he catches that one.
Henry Burris with 6 straight 300-yard games has just 90 so far in this one, but he'll add to it here. Copeland over the middle with a catch and a first down.
Copeland ran a curl right in front of Jason Goss, and it looks to me like Goss is still limping. I mean, he was hurt, had the interception early in the first quarter, and Copeland goes this time. He tries to push him deep, and he runs a curl on him to the right of your screen, and Goss went down. Looked like he got up limping. He stays in the game, but he's nowhere to be seen. You saw Copeland just catch it over the middle there.
I don't think Stanford Samuels is back either, and there's another catch. Nick Lewis. J.R. LaRose has moved to the corner as he had to do on Labor Day. Will Loftus into the game at safety, and so once again the injuries in that Eskimos secondary mounting.
And the Calgary Stampeders may not be able to go after it yet, but when they get halftime to talk about it and sit down, they may find new ways to attack the changes.
First down at the 46. Long out, Ralph on this side of the field up against J.R. LaRose. And the catch is made, 1:15 on the clock. 7 for Brett Ralph.
That's 2 throws in a row that Henry Burris has gone right after J.R. LaRose at the wide side of the field. Now LaRose will have to swap over and go to the wide side, which is the opposite side of the formation for Burris now. He goes to that wide side corner. Twice in a row they've thrown it in front of him.
2nd and 3. Reynolds straight ahead, should have the first down. On the Edmonton side of half, Abdullah the tackle. And the Eskimo 54.
Right now, J.R. LaRose is way off the wide side receiver at times. That has been Ryan Thelwell. And LaRose has played real wide. Look at how much of a cushion he is giving that outside receiver. And that means either Brett Ralph or Ryan Thelwell, whomever they put over there, that gives him a lot of cushion.
Is a first down on the 5th carry of the game for Joffrey Reynolds. He has 23 yards.
And with a minute 11 left in this first half, Henry Burris does not have to force it deep into that secondary. If they're going to back off that much, he can take the underneath stuff still.
1st and 10. Clock running. Stamps still have a timeout. And Burris throws in traffic, and there's a catch. Kenyon Rambo with the catch in traffic, and many of his teammates mentioning yesterday how he makes those tough catches. There is a marker on the play.
Yeah, that's the teammates are talking about that. They're watching the film on Rambo and saying a lot of receivers are playing better in the
Illegal contact. Edmonton number 23. That penalty's declined. First down.
So the receivers are playing better, and Nick Lewis leads the team in yardage. But when you look at Rambo right there in the middle of your screen, he's been the guy making the tough catches in traffic, and tons of traffic there. How about the confidence from Henry Burris to even throw the ball?
Shannon Garrett called, but doesn't matter. They'll take the catch in 1st and 10. Burris backpedaling, and there is the first sack of the year for Adam Braidwood. Danny Machocha told us yesterday we need more out of the second-year defensive end. He comes up big here.
And a bit of a mental mistake from Henry Burris, who was locked into coverage down the field, and he let Braidwood get up into the field. Now, if Burris needs to throw this football away, he didn't feel it because he was locked into his receivers, waiting for one to open. He's buying ground, and he doesn't see Braidwood, who's right. He's almost too close for him to see him, if that makes sense.
Loss of 14. 2nd and 24, back at the 50, and now everybody jumps the gun and flags fly.
Looked like Jay McNeil may have moved up front, but you know, Burris had his football team in field goal range.
Procedure Calgary.
And they are way
Procedure.
out of...
Calgary, number 50, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's the second time Jay McNeil's jumped, and you don't usually see that from the 37-year-old in his 13th year.
No, although he did miss a lot of playing time this season, and maybe just trying to get his groove back on up there. But what a change of events over 2 plays.
Yeah, now 2nd and 28. More pressure. They've got him again. Back at the 41-yard line. This time it's Rob Brown. The biggest defensive series of the season for the Eskimos front.
Yeah, without question, the Calgary Stampeders moving the football down. Looked like they had momentum. And 3 plays in a row, the Edmonton defense has caused Calgary to go backwards 36 yards.
Rob Brown, a dozen sacks last year, just his 2nd of this season. After the Braidwood sack and a procedure penalty against an offensive line that's had its hands full in the first half. And now the Eskimos call timeout. They think they might be able to when they move the football again. When
they move the ball back that way 36 yards, a punt return of any kind now makes them a play or 2 away from a field goal attempt of their own. That has been, and I would agree with you, Chris, the best defensive series of plays for the Edmonton Eskimos this year.
47 career sacks for one of the leaders on that Eskimo defense, Robert Brown. Marker down. And Tompkins draws another penalty. The no yards will be called against Calgary. And with 18 seconds left, Glenn Johnson has 2 flags to sort out after the 36-yard punt by Duncan O'Mahony.
Holding. Edmonton, no yards. Calgary, 5-yard no yards. Will balance 5 yards net against Edmonton. First down.
So the ball on the 27 after the penalties are sorted out. 18 seconds left.
No.
You play it cozy.
Yeah, I think you take the lead in at halftime here. I mean, I know you have Ricky Ray, and everyone always loves to be aggressive. But you also have to be smart at times, and I'd be surprised if the Edmonton Eskimos try and throw it up here. Well, they're in the shotgun.
Here we go. And Ray's going to unload deep, and he's got Gaylor wide open. And he's got he can't hang on. That ball hung up and allowed Carpenter to recover. Somewhere back in the studio, I'm hearing Matt Dunnigan saying, good for the Eskimos for going for it.
Well, okay. Yeah, good for the Eskimos. Browner almost had that interception, too. And Calgary Stampeders step up. Now, Gaylor's open, and Ray had to reload. Trey Young got caught looking across the middle at Acree. He's the guy that's supposed to be deep there, and you see, well, it was actually Carpenter came across and almost had the interception. Now, if he intercepts it and takes it back to field goal range, is it a smart play?
When you get a guy that wide open, I like the aggressiveness.
Yeah, I know everybody does. Of course you do.
Now they're going to put a knee down. So the Edmonton Eskimos will have to do it one more time here, and things heating up. Now the flag, or the clock has drained. Unusual first half. Tom Higgins with a word as his team trails by 7 after 30 minutes.
1, 2, 3.
Load up the drugs, we'll let the demons come in. Bring all the kids, let it begin. Shoot them around, I'll lock you up in the pen. If you're raiding my life, give it 10. But it remains to be seen if you've got what it takes to be queen. Just get your ass to my door and don't ask for a chance from a queen.
Tonight's game is available on TSN HD and in 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround Sound. TSN, Canada sports leader in high definition. A slugfest in the first half, 13-6 Edmonton. Jermaine Franklin standing by with Calgary coach Tom Higgins.
Coach Higgins, you were trailing on Monday at the half. What adjustments do you plan on making this game to make that comeback?
Well, exactly the same that we did on Monday. We just repeated it. No injuries to report, just some bumps and bruises. I thought Edmonton did a really nice job with their motion early offensively, and we allowed them then to move the football. We exchanged turnovers, and so now we just got to make some good decisions. We'll get the ball, score a touchdown, and make it even, turn this into a good football game. But I think the biggest thing is for us to just start making some plays offensively.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, they get the ball on the opening kickoff of the second half. Marcus Howell stopped by Ken Hollis. And Henry Burris leads the offense back for Calgary. And Stanford Samuels checks back in for duty in the Edmonton secondary.
It was a hit injury. He was hit and he wasn't sure. They hit his helmet to end the first half. So he is able to get back in this second half. And they need him. They need all the veteran help they can get back there.
First play, second half, straight ahead. Joffrey Reynolds into the secondary and rumbles across the 50-yard line.
It's interesting. Tom Higgins in that halftime interview there came out and he seemed like he was in a pretty good mood. He was telling a little joke off the top and has been in this position before. In fact, on Monday, he was almost in the identical position down at halftime, but obviously have made a little adjustment in handing the ball to Joffrey Reynolds out of the gate. With that balance at the end of that run.
Reynolds had 32 of 68 yards in the fourth quarter on Monday. He's working the third quarter today. And another first down run of 10 yards for Reynolds. Shadiq Shabazz with the tackle. And Reynolds now up to 53 yards on the game.
Watch how Henry Burris sells this when he jumps up and he turns like he's going to throw quickly and then hands it underneath. See that little turn to the right? And then he hands it underneath on the draw from the shotgun position to Joffrey Reynolds. A couple plays in a row in the running game running.
So good numbers for Reynolds now. He's really turned it around since that controversial 4-carry game. As Burris calls his own number, quarterback draw close to another first down. Remember, 4 carries for Reynolds in Montreal in mid-August, and that caused quite a stir.
Well, also, the area on the field that the Calgary Stampeders have attacked to start the second half has been the same area 3 plays in a row. That's the interior of that defensive line. So something they've seen in the first half, wide rush from the linebackers getting up and overloading, have opened up the middle.
Now the jumbo team in, double tight, 2nd and 2. Reynolds diving for the first down and a late flag.
You know, it was 3 plays in a row. That would be the 4th. Now that's short yardage, but see, this is possibly the area, the gap that I was talking about where they're overloading. That's A.J. Gass right there who's up in the line of scrimmage. So they've noticed that, the Calgary Stampeders, and 3 plays in a row attack the right side of their offensive line. That's the 4th in short yardage that they've got over that right side.
Roughness. Edmonton number 53, 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Yeah, you could see Raheem Abdullah looked like he gave somebody a knee in that pile after Reynolds had dove for the first down. Costly 15 yards. This drive started with the Stampeder 32-yard line. So things getting nasty and a little frustration. Calgary stays in the jumbo set. Quick hitter. Nick Lewis with the catch. And he's dragged down after another first down by Omar Morgan at the 8.
Well, this will be a penalty-aided drive. Let's go back and show you Raheem Abdullah on the penalty there. It gets nasty and physical in there, and you can see him just drop the right knee
on Gerald Commission.
And then that same area in the field, this time not out of the running formation, but a quick throw to Nick Lewis, the right side of that formation. The Calgary Stampeders have seen something.
They stay in the jumbo set. First and goal from the 7. Joffrey Reynolds, a little stutter step.
Right side.
And he'll drag the pile down to the 2.
George Cortez, the offensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, is one of the masters at making the adjustments. In fact, Henry Burris told us yesterday that his communication level with Cortez has increased so much over the last 4 weeks, and this is obviously an adjustment because this drive alone, they have not looked at the left side of the formation at all. It's been all right side of the formation. Clearly Edmonton's been overloading the opposite side, and they've taken advantage of it in this first drive.
Second and goal from the 2. Burris to pass, flipping it into the end zone. Touchdown, Kenyon Rambo. What a drive to open the second half for the Stamps.
By disguise, the Edmonton Eskimos took the safety out of the middle, and they were going to see if A.J. Gass could show blitz here and then drop back and get in coverage and maybe take away that throw. Gass realizes it, and then he has to look up the receiver and just can't get there.
Rambo had a pair of touchdowns on Labor Day. His first 2 of the year.
All right.
Has one in the rematch, and this game is tied early, third quarter. Stampeder drive to open the second half.
If Edmonton wants A.J. Gass to drop back and help on that, then the defensive backs on the play have to get physical with the receivers. They can't let them run free.
DeAngelis with the kickoff out of bounds. And we'll see if the Eskimos want them to re-kick or take it to 45.
45 is usually the option that is picked up here because that's very good field position. It's hard to duplicate that.
Illegal kickoff, Calgary number 12. It's Edmonton first down in the 45.
Yeah, let's look at that touchdown again. I'll tell you what I'm talking about with Shannon Garrett is the guy, the defensive back is basically up right here on Kenyon Rambo. Now he has got to get his hands on him or A.J. Gass can't get there, but look at that jab step right there. That puts Garrett off of balance and outside position. Kenyon Rambo cuts inside, he gets in behind, and that didn't give any time for A.J. Gass. A perfect throw from Henry Burris.
So let's see if the Eskimos have an early answer in this second half as they begin at the 45-yard line. Play action, Kamal Peterson, who had the big play to start the first half. Close to a first down at midfield. He had the 64-yarder on the opening play of the night.
It was played differently, though, by the guy who was covering him on the opening play. Brandon Browner got inside. Kamal Peterson bounced to the outside and went over 60 with it. That time, Browner stayed way outside and funneled Kamal Peterson right into Browner's friends. Big physical corner.
Second and inches. Eskimos with a 6-pack of receivers. And Ray guns it, first down. Catch made by Jason Tucker at the Calgary 46.
Little different formation for the Edmonton Eskimos, and Brandon Browner was late getting into position. He ended up being the guy who had to go and try and cover Tucker, and he was a step late getting there, and right now Ray's got him a little off balance. See, Browner's trying to figure out which guy he's got. They're crossing over, and Tucker's left. Basically, there's Browner. He came in real late on the play.
And again, the Eskimos going hurry up here. Tate George with pressure, and a completion on the far, an incomplete. Nowacki unable to bring it in.
It's one thing that the hurry-up offense can do to a defense is if you got hurry-up plus you throw in formations that aren't familiar, now the guys are matching up on defense, and the Calgary Stampeders trying to figure out which guy do I have, how are we going to play it? And what it'll make the Calgary defense do is maybe go vanilla. Just play basic zones, and if that happens, boy, watch out for Ricky Ray then.
There are the numbers for Ray so far. Get the impression they've gotten away dramatically from Tyler Ebell, who was busy early in this game. Pressure, Ebell, the release man here. And Tyler Ebell will be dropped at the 38-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short and in a position where Danny Machocha can send the field goal unit on or think about a third down gamble.
When Tyler Ebel would have had the first down easily had Ray been able to throw it when he wanted to, but the pressure forced him to get outside the pocket, and it took him another second and a half. He wants to throw it to Ebel immediately, but watch the pressure in his face. Here comes Scott Coe. Now he has to kind of duck that. That cost him a second or two and it allowed Calgary to rally to make this field goal attempt instead of a first down.
Cornelius Anthony the stop as Sean Fleming surveys a 45-yard attempt. And he has missed it. And Howell changes direction. Will he run out or not? It's going to be a conceded point, and the Eskimos regain the lead. Donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purelator is the official courier of the CFL, tackling hunger across Canada, and the Eskimos move out of that tie for last with Hamilton with a 4-sack opening half.
Hamilton, Casey Printers can't sack the quarterback, so they've got to pick it up and get back in the race.
Well, let's see what Henry Burris does for an encore. Going up top for Nick Lewis. That's batted down by the safety, J.R. LaRose. Let's go inside the huddle and rejoin Danny McManus.
Hey, Chris, you guys talked about it earlier. Since Calgary made that decision on the receiving core, they've been a lot better as far as in the passing game. Main reason, Kenyon Rambo basically forced himself on this team, and Henry Burris said he's got to get on the playing field. That's why Mark Boerichter's in Toronto today.
Yeah, that started out with that rotation. There's the touchdown to Kenyon Rambo. He also made a great catch in traffic in the first half.
Talked to Nick Lewis yesterday, and he wanted to talk about Kenyon Rambo. Even Randy Chevrier told us yesterday, you got to talk about Rambo. He's making big plays. That ball skipped into the hands of Rambo, who will try and sell it. Well, the Eskimos say no catch, and the officials are going to huddle. It looks like they want to spot it. And there'll be a video challenge if they do. They are spotting it, and there goes the challenge flag.
Yeah, let's take a look again.
Danny McManus, or Machocha may have just set a record. He looked like Danny McManus throwing the challenge flag.
Yeah, it was all the way into the midfield mark, and that one did look like it bounced. Well, it was closer than it looked from the live action, and that's why replay was put into effect a year ago, because that's going to be a tougher call than it looked initially. I mean, I thought that bounced about a yard in front of Rambo there.
I did too, but there it looked there like it hit the turf, didn't it?
It's tough to tell though, because remember that's been ruled as a catch, so now they need enough evidence to overturn it. Although I disagreed with the first challenge of the game, but that's when I think will be a lot tougher to call. We'll see what happens.
Edmonton is challenging the ruling of a catch on the play. I'll review it.
You know, it ruled a catch, so the evidence has to show that it hit the ground. We've shown you the two angles. Both those angles tough to see whether or not Rambo got his hands underneath the football.
So Glenn Johnson back under the hood.
But again, the Andrew Nowacki catch early on to me looked like a lock as a catch, and it was ruled and overturned, so you're never sure.
Let's take another look at and slow it down and see if
is there enough evidence there to say that touched the ground first or that his hands were underneath it. I don't think from that look there is, because you can see the ball is right on the ground. What is it? Are Rambo's hands underneath the ball when it hits right there? And does he maintain possession as he's being hit from behind?
It's another reason why they're talking about Rambo, because he makes a heck of a play to
make this interesting.
Make this very interesting, and maybe make it a catch that can't be overturned. But they say he's so good at catching the ball in traffic.
Well, this is one of those ones, though, Chris, that I would say, you know, whether that was ruled completion or an incompletion, either way, it would be tough to overturn it. And we had pretty good looks at it. The only way you get a better angle if there was a football cam. That hasn't been instituted yet.
On review, there's no evidence that the ball touched the ground, therefore the ruling on the field stands.
Yeah, Danny Machocho will be upset with that, but I think when he goes back and looks, I mean, this is the correct call. There's just not enough evidence. This might have been the best angle, but you still can't tell whether or not the hands, because it's blocked from your vision, are underneath the ball or not. So
that's the angle being shown here in the stadium, and
they say no.
Yeah,
but
you know what over 40,000 think here, but so it is a first down. Back to work goes Joffrey Reynolds. Reynolds had 34 yards on the 78-yard touchdown march, and back to work here for 8 more.
Once again, look where A.J. Gass is lining up. George Cortez has seen this. A.J. Gass is lining up here. Where have they been attacking? Right there. Basically saying where 77 goes, let's run the ball the opposite direction.
Second and 2. Straight ahead, Commission, and he'll have the first down. And A.J. Gass has been mic'd. Let's hear the sounds of the game.
There we go.
Hey, let's see how many we can draw out of them. We'll draw them. We'll draw them. Attaboy, Jason. Hey, we will have none of that today.
Well, that was the first half.
Yeah.
They're getting a little bit of it in the second half for sure. First down, a pump and a go, looking for Nick Lewis. And Lewis can't bring it in. We've seen him make that catch.
Well, I would agree with Henry Burris as he looked to his receiver and said, you know, a great effort, but 2 hands. If you can get 1 on it, I've heard coaches say you can get 2 on it, and Nick Lewis definitely in behind Omar Morgan. And I'm wondering if he couldn't have put that other hand out there. Tough one over that outside shoulder. But Burris immediately put 2 hands up and said, use them both. We had a big play there.
Morgan got the jam on him, but Lewis, physical receiver, got away. Now underneath, pass is caught by Rambo, and he'll have another first down.
Well, I guess I can see what all his teammates are talking about. I mean, that's the 3rd, 4th catch in a row in this game alone that Rambo's going in the danger zone right across the middle. Burris has to buy some time and some ground, give up some ground to get the ball out of there. But Rambo knows he's going to get hit when he comes across that middle, and he comes up with the ball again.
The spot will require a measurement. Close to 10 for Rambo.
And close enough either way that Calgary would likely gamble.
And it is indeed a first down, and clearly the momentum is behind the Stampeders in this 3rd quarter. Danny Machocho's team was up by 13, and now it's a precarious 1-point lead. The last possession of the first half for Calgary, they were going in reverse, but they've kicked it into overdrive here in the second half. Fake to Reynolds, and now the pass for Reynolds, and he was interfered with, and you saw the penalty call.
Rick Campbell made an adjustment, Chris. They moved A.J. Gass back to the middle. And now A.J. Gass is matched up one-on-one basically on Joffrey Reynolds. So I showed you a couple times how Rick Campbell, the defensive coordinator, had put A.J. Gass over here. Now look where he is. He's right there in better position to go either way. He's going to be the guy.
Edmonton number 77 will be a 10-yard penalty, first down.
And it's 77. See, it's one-on-one. Gass is going to grab Reynolds to the left of your screen, and when he grabbed that jersey, that's where the flag came out. This is A.J. Gass back in the middle. He's one-on-one with Reynolds. That little pull right there with the left hand, that drew the flag.
10-yard penalty. And a first down at the 24-yard line. And Burris throwing into the corner, incomplete. He was looking for Copeland.
Some late flags after the fact here, right in the middle of the pile, and it looks like Adam Braidwood was involved. I think Henry Burris threw that away. He saw coverage coming over the top, and he threw that out of bounds on purpose. But we'll see what these penalties are, because they could be big.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Edmonton number 91. Will go half the distance from the end of the play to the goal, first down.
So it was Abdullah on the touchdown drive to start the third quarter with a roughing penalty, and now this drive aided by a Braidwood penalty. Half the distance takes it to the 12.
That was way after the fact, and Braidwood basically knocked down one of the offensive linemen from behind, and that's what the flag was about.
Calgary had 3 straight scores in the third quarter on Labor Day, threatening to make it 2 in a row here. Henry Burris into the corner, and a stretch for the touchdown, Jermaine Copeland.
Edmonton has had to come out of that pressure package with A.J. Gass on the line of scrimmage and the linebackers providing more pressure. They put Gass back in the middle there, right here, and the reason being because of Joffrey Reynolds' success in the second half. Now he becomes the fake guy. Burris gets outside, has some time to throw. Heck of an effort by Jermaine Copeland to get that ball across the line.
5th touchdown of the year for Copeland, the first lead of the game for the Stampeders. DeAngelis with the point after. 2014 Stamps. The 19th touchdown pass of the year, tossed by Henry Burris. So this game following the script of last year's Labor Day rematch. It was 16-0 Edmonton last year, and they squandered the lead and had to come from behind, and suddenly the Eskimos in the same position after that touchdown by Copeland.
Combination routes here. Copeland right here is going to run the out, and his buddy Nick Lewis is going to run the curl. Now, defensive backs on the top are Flowers and Goss. Flowers on the outside, Goss on the inside. They can switch this up and drop one guy, pick up the other. Flowers could take Copeland, but they don't. They try and stay man-to-man, and Jason Goss just cannot get all the way around Nick Lewis, and up to Jermaine Copeland, just not enough time.
Eskimos were outscored 20-3 by Calgary. On Labor Day, mix up in the backfield and a pitch to Ebel, and they make some yards out of nothing. Brian Clark, the tackle.
It's called the banjo coverage or combination or switch coverage from the secondary. Go ahead and run it here, guys. We'll see at the end of the play what they could have done here. See, right now, if you stop it, watch this. Flowers could jump this one. That's Copeland. And you could sit in here in your Goss. You take Nick Lewis. But what they do is they try and stay man-to-man. Now look at Jason Goss. He has to bubble around Nick Lewis. No way he can get there in time.
Well, that defense has been gathered together to get on the same page. 2nd and 4, and Ray with a sidearm toss to Tucker for a first down.
But old Mo is clearly in this second half wearing a Calgary Stampeder jersey.
You know, the Stampeders held Edmonton last week to 95 net yards in the second half. 75 of those yards on one play to TJ Acree. Otherwise, Ricky Ray and the Eskimos were stymied.
That turned into a turnover for Calgary, that Acree play.
First down at the 47. Ebel kicks it outside with a sweet move and has close to 10 near the first down. Trey Young, the safety, brings down Tyler Ebell.
Well, take a look at this. This is just what we're talking about. His numbers may not reflect it, but Tyler Ebell has this ability right here. This is something you don't coach. It's drawn up to go to the right, and look at that bounce and move to the outside. That's just sweet feet from Tyler Ebell.
Left Terrence Patrick.
Yeah.
Yep. Swinging it air.
Patrick was just, he was over there going, okay, hang on, let me get my shoes. There's, okay, I got that. I got to get my jock. Okay, that's on. Back. Okay, we're back. Wow, that was some kind of move.
2nd and a yard. And Ricky Ray stays in. We've often seen Stefan LaForce or Stephen Giles on the short yardage situations, but Ray stays in here.
Interesting observation, because that could mean that they might want to try and go deep on the next 2nd or 3rd short situation, and maybe that's why Ray's left in there to not tip off the opponent. Jacques Chapdelaine, the offensive coordinator, now has to get a drive going. This is an important one. You know what he's done? He's brought Tyler Ebell back into the mix.
Ebell, 11 touches in the game, 27 yards rushing, 57 yards receiving. 84 combined yards, flag down. Ray throws that away in the vicinity of holding.
Like Ricky Ray had some kind of screen set up to that side, and he didn't see the target he wanted. Jason Tucker in his return after missing 4 games.
Holding. Edmonton number 64. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Tim Baker, the center.
It's taken him a little bit of time to get back into that game type speed. I mean, Tucker has coming off that knee injury. It was his left side, and it takes you some time just to get the game speed back.
Tim Baker, by the way, lobbying yesterday, wanted you to know that he's playing with a slight cold in case you're considering a center as the Gladiator. Here's a pass over the middle, and Kamau Peterson outside with a nice move. And on 2nd and 20, Peterson gets close to 19 as he left Brandon Browner in his wake.
Now, this is the difference between this year's Kamau Peterson and past year's Kamau Peterson. Is Kamau Peterson of old would have made this catch and then would have just, as soon as he saw contact, would have dove forward to get that first down to be safe. Now he's got the confidence that he won't give up the football, makes a nice catch, and how about the move on the outside to bounce outside of Brandon Browner, one of the great tacklers in the Calgary secondary.
One 100-yard game for Peterson this season, and 2nd and 1. And straight ahead for the first down. Peterson within one of another 100-yard game. The former Calgary Stampeder. And when he started in Calgary, they were talking about a brilliant future and 62 catches, a career high as a Stampeder. But we're only now seeing what they were talking about six years ago as he matures into an outstanding receiver here in Edmonton.
They've always loved, every team that's had Kamau Peterson, loved his size, about 200 pounds, 6'1".
Should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. From the Calgary 41, Ricky Ray again underneath, has a completion. Andrew Nowacki the catch, and the Eskimos are moving the ball, but in a 3rd quarter dominated by the Stampeders, who lead by 6.
10 minutes, the Calgary Stampeders had just 5. You see how balanced it is now. Football is always a game of adjustments. Calgary made some adjustments at halftime, and it shows in the numbers.
Well, the Stampeders own that 3rd quarter. They're trying to win 2 in a row for the first time all year, and the Eskimos are really facing a must-win to stay in the Western race. This is going to be a really interesting 4th quarter.
Well, they dropped too far behind Calgary. They've already lost that season series, as you mentioned. If they lose here tonight, then now they're looking at the crossover to the east to try and make the playoffs. The Stampeders are still trying to fight for that home playoff game, which is still well within possibilities for the Stamps. And they said also they have to win this game to get the respect. I think that's one thing that was most of the players talked about.
2nd and a yard. Eskimos have been driving. Tyler Ebell stood up and broke a tackle for the first down. That's a huge play by Ebell when it looked like he was going to be stopped short.
And maybe even lost a couple.
Right.
So it might have taken Danny Machoch's decision right out of it, because it looked like he was caught in the backfield. I mean, it was about a yard back, and there weren't just one. Look, that's Brian Clark was in there. That's one of the best tacklers they got.
Shannon James.
Yeah, they saved one of the top defensive players on the team this year. And Tyler Ebel bounces outside of both of them.
Down to the Stamps, 27. Back to Ebel. And not much there. Karan Williams, the nose guard, with the tackle. Crunch time for the green and gold.
Well, yeah, very much so. And a drive that they needed. Remember, the Calgary Stampeders in the third quarter, they grabbed that time of possession back, made it close. They've taken the lead. And this is the first real drive the Edmonton Eskimos have been able to put together.
Eskimos have lost 4 of 5. 2nd and 7. Time for Ray, out of the backfield, Ebel, first down, and he'll step out at the 13.
Just a check down, Tyler Ebel right in here, and his idea right now is if someone comes, if a Calgary Stampeder blitzes, I take him. If not, I get out of there and become a target for the quarterback. No blitzer came for the Calgary Stampeders. Tyler Ebel gets out into the flat, and he is underneath the coverage, steps out of bounds, but not until he has the first down.
Eskimo drive started at their own 32, and this will be the 12th play of the drive. First down at the 13. Ray rolls. Ray keeps. Scott Coe will ease him out of bounds at the 7. 6 for Ricky Ray.
Didn't look to me like Ricky Ray really thought to throw at all on that play. It looked like it was just going to be a naked bootleg to come out to the outside and just take advantage of the fact that Tyler Ebel has been pretty effective in this drive. So see if they can suck the Calgary Stampeders into biting there. But Scott Coe reacted quickly. He slipped, he fell, he took a step, but he still got outside fast enough so that Ray couldn't find the end zone.
2nd and 4 from the 7. Eskimos down by 6. A touchdown will change that. Ray to the end zone, knocked down, broken up. J.R. Ruffin in his first game of the year off knee surgery in June breaks up the Eskimos scoring attempt.
Well, they've gone to this bunch formation a bunch, and this is Trevor Gaylor right there, and he's going to go to the flat. And he is open initially, but Ricky Ray not ready to throw. He kind of looks back to the inside. He has a target. Ruffin actually missed the ball, but distracted Nowacki enough that he couldn't come up with the catch.
Sean Fleming's 2 for 3, missed from 45. He's hit from 12 and 23, and this a chip shot from 14 yards out. And he cuts the Stamp lead in half. It's a 3-point game at Commonwealth. Minutes, 20 seconds remaining. Here in the 4th quarter, Calgary will scrimmage at their own 35. After the field goal, a couple of touchdown marches in this second half, and Henry Burris over the middle misfires to Jermaine Copeland as we go back inside the huddle with Danny McManus.
Chris, after the last touchdown by Calgary, defensive coordinator Rick Campbell gathered up his defensive guys and said, hey, this team is good, but what we have to do is be a lot more effective on first down. Stop the run, put him in a 2nd and long situation, make Henry Burris keep his hot streak going. Otherwise, this game's going to get to a point where we're not going to be able to catch up with these guys.
3rd quarter Labor Day, 2 touchdowns and 3 drives for Calgary. Tonight, 2 touchdowns in 2 drives. Pressure. Burris is going to have to throw it away.
That's what it does. You get in 2nd and long, you can send that pressure in different stunts up front. That's what Rick Campbell was talking about, to try and get the Calgary Stampeders back into 2nd and long. Joffrey Reynolds in the last 2 drives became a big part of their offense and why they took the lead. This allows the Edmonton Eskimos to run a little more pressure. I think Henry Burrs thought that Ron Warner was offside. He got there so quickly.
I thought so too. Warner really got a jump out of the blocks. And so O'Mani to punt. Tompkins awaits. That is 35. Directional kick again. From the 32. Tompkins cut down immediately. Matt Grotegood again downfield first. Eskimos have had 4 home games this year. The margin of victory has been 5 points total. And tonight, 3 points separate these teams as Ricky Ray dumps it off. Tyler Ebell. Shannon James trips him up, but Ebell's got another big gain to the 47 after the 2 and out. And how about a 275-pounder coming out of the starting blocks like a 100-meter champion?
Well, key down too for the Edmonton Eskimos, and Warner right in here in the 4-point stance, 2 hands down. Watch how quickly he shoots out of there and is in the backfield. And Henry Burrs thought that he was offside. He was in his face so quickly. But upon further review, he wasn't. He just anticipated the snap count and was gone.
He fooled me too. Ray just gets it away. And Kamal Peterson has another catch. Tossed out by Carpenter, but Ray under pressure delivers.
Sure does. Ricky Ray was getting knocked down, it looked like, before he actually threw this ball. Cornelius Anthony comes right up the middle, and he has his hands all over Ricky Ray. Somehow he not only gets the ball out of there, but he leads Kamal Peterson so he can catch it in stride.
48 catches on the year for Kamal Peterson, his second 100-yard game. And the Eskimos offense has found some traction here in the 4th quarter. Again, Ebell.
What a call.
42-yard line, Tyler Ebell with another catch, 8 yards more.
Nice call by Jacques Chapdelaine, because tendencies have shown that the Calgary Stampeders have now loaded up this side of the field and are going to come with pressure from this direction. So what do? They get Tyler Ebell out the opposite direction on the screen, and basically saying to Calgary, go ahead, bring all that blitz from the outside, and just before you get there, we'll dump it off to our back to the opposite direction.
Well, Ebell is back in the offense moving. Second and call it 3. Short drop. Ebell again. First down and a lot more to the 24-yard line before middle linebacker Brian Clark pulls him down.
They've run this a couple of times, and it's the opposite side of that bunch formation. And what it does is it isolates Tyler Ebell on a linebacker, in this case Brian Clark. Remember, he missed the last game because of a knee injury. He gets picked on the play from the receiver, I believe it was Jason Tucker, and can't get out there in coverage for Ebell. That's why he picks up the big yards.
Ebell to the bench. Look out, pressure. Ray is dropped for a loss. Shannon James gets to the Eskimo quarterback. Second sack for the Stamps. The Sam linebacker gets to Ricky Ray.
There he is right there, and he is not allowing the offensive line to count him because he comes in there late at the top, hesitates for a second, then he's around the corner untouched.
Loss of 9. Second and 19. One of the 4 players, Coach Tom Higgins, singled out on his defense. James, along with Browner, Trey Young, and Cornelius Anthony. Ebell checks back in. On second and 19, Ray steps up, looks downfield, and Gaylor can't come up with it. Would have been short of the first down.
Well, I'm amazed that Ricky Ray even could get it in there close, because the linebackers for the Calgary Stampeders, they line up way off. They're saying, look at this. There's Scott Coe. I mean, he's about 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. All the linebackers were that deep, saying if you're going to complete one, you're going to have to throw it underneath, and Ray still finds a way to knife it in there, but Gaylor can't hang on.
So Sean Fleming from 41 yards out will try and knot the score at 20 all. And he has missed again from outside 40. And this is Bannister. Flag down as Bannister. Little double clutch and does bring it out. And is knocked out of bounds just beyond the 10-yard line. I'm not sure about that decision, are you?
Well, it almost looked when he double clutched, like you mentioned, that he might have got the wave signal or something from one of the coaches, because I agree, it looked like it was the smart play. Just take it out of bounds, give up the single.
But there is a flag. It's against Calgary in all likelihood, and it means they'll be starting inside their 10. But the Stamps might be thinking, don't want to make it a 2-point game with half a quarter to go. Sean Fleming getting the options from Glenn Johnson.
But if you're Bannister and you've been told by the coaching staff to run it out, then why all the hesitation? Take that baby, get outside, and go with it.
Legal block, Calgary, number 23. While the ball was in the goal, we're to apply the penalty from the 10-yard line, back half the distance, no point, first down Calgary.
So they are back to the 5 on the penalty. We'll take a break and be right back. Points separate the Alberta rivals in the standings. 3 points separate them in this game, midway into the fourth quarter. And the Stamps in a hole at their 5, protecting the 3-point lead. Joffrey Reynolds will give him some breathing room. Shannon Garrett trying to bring him down, and Reynolds out across the 20.
A.J. Gass tried to disguise his blitz, and he went to the outside and then ran past the play. Pretty good job by the right side of the Calgary offensive line. That's been their adjustment. You're going to see pretty good blocks there, but watch A.J. Gass get around the corner, and then he gets too high on the play. Joffrey Reynolds cuts underneath him. Gass slips and falls.
16-yard run. Better field position. Quarterback draw. And Burris has got room across the 30, close to another first down.
You know, the adjustment made by George Cortez was the right side of that offensive line and start to take control. Bobby Singh, Jeff Pilon over there, and that's against Brownie. That see Bobby Singh and Pilon take their man outside, opening up an inside running lane for Henry Burris. That's back-to-back plays again to the right side. One to Reynolds, one to Burris. Cortez has made that adjustment.
And 2 huge first downs for the Stamps to get it out of the shadows of their goalpost. Back to Reynolds. And this time, the door is slammed shut. Somebody lost their lid. And not much for Joffrey Reynolds.
This time, the backside of the Edmonton defensive line decided to cut across and help out that opposite side. They just basically hit the gaps to plug it up, knowing that the Calgary Stampeders are going with the old philosophy, if it's not broken, then why try and fix it and keep running until they stop it?
There's a big play, 2nd and 8. There's the last 3 games for Joffrey Reynolds since the 4-carry performance in Montreal. And here's a big completion and a first down. Jermaine Copeland finally brought down by the safety J.R. LaRose. 3 huge first downs in a row for Henry Burris and the Stamps.
Gass tries to run a stunt here. He's a little bit late getting there. He's going to come around this corner, and that allows Burris just an extra split second. He's a little bit late getting over there, but Copeland does the right thing. He takes half a step back to the football. That separates him from the defensive back and gives him that big first down.
Back on the ground, Reynolds. And he has a couple off the left side. Shabazz in on the tackle. 4 carries, 20 yards for Reynolds in Montreal. And as you've seen, he's become a much larger part of the offense and what everybody expected in the last 3 starts.
Well, no matter what happens on this drive, unless there's a turnover now, the Calgary Stampeders have really accomplished what they want to, get away from the shadow of their goalpost. Remember, they have the 3-point lead, so field position important.
2nd and 7. Can the Stamps convert again? Burris throwing, and this one almost picked off. Jason Goss close to his 2nd of the game.
Boy, he read it well. Kenyon Rambo was running the out, but Jason Goss to the left of your screen, he read this. He's seen this enough from Rambo, and he jumps it and cuts underneath. He leaves his feet right there, goes right through both of his hands. This is one of the defensive backs that does have very good hands in the secondary. He has 3 interceptions.
He was a former receiver.
And that one just slipped through. A break for Henry Burris.
But Henry Burris and the offense moved it 44 valuable yards. 3 first downs on that drive. Tompkins from his 24. Tompkins trying to get outside. Flags fly as he is pulled down by Wes Lysak. Well, the plot thickens here. 3:47 remaining. Clock running. After the illegal block penalty, the ball is at the 14, and now it's Ricky Ray that has to generate some first downs. The fake to Ebel, and the throw is complete to Gaylor, who's had a quiet night. Well, it's a big football Sunday, and it concludes Sunday evening with NFL action. The New York Giants take on the Dallas Cowboys. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Also available on TSN HD.
Well, Peyton Manning last night just tore up the Saints.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so let's see if Eli Manning can now step into the...
And it was good to see Kenton Keith get the football last night.
I saw that. A couple nice runs by Kenton Keith.
5 carries, 32 yards. It pressed into duty quickly in that game. 2nd and 2. And a completion and a big play. Andrew Nowacki all the way to the 47-yard line. As the 3-minute warning is given to the benches in a 3-point game at Commonwealth. Under Armour headquarters.
Wasn't the 382 Burris had on Labor Day, but he did have a better second half, has so far. Ricky Ray over 300. But it's been Tyler Ebel for Edmonton in this 4th that has really brought the Eskimos back to within striking range. Kenyon Rambo with some tough catches over the middle again.
25 to Nowacki gives the Eskimos better field position at the 47. And Ricky Ray overthrows Jason Tucker.
Wow, Tyler Ebel, as much as he's been used by the Eskimos, he came out of the backfield there and was open with real estate to go, and Ricky Ray just for 1 second forgot 27.
2:29 on the clock, so not likely 3-down football for the Eskimos yet. If they come up short on 2nd and 10.
I think he's still punting.
Guys, back up, please.
Ricky Ray trying to make sure that's not an option.
Big blitz.
And going deep. And again, too far for Jason Tucker. And now they will punt with 2:24 to go.
Well, and that happened so quickly, too. It was full blitz from the Calgary Stampeders. They sent the house, and Ricky Ray had one option. It was Tucker, who didn't really show us that Tucker breakout burst that we've seen before. Now, he's coming off 4 games off on the injury list and just doesn't have that bounce quite yet.
Fleming punting to Howell, 18-yard line. Marcus Howell forced out at the 23 and a flag. 2:15 to go. Long conference about the penalty marker on the punt return.
Legal interference, blocking Edmonton number 29, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sadiq Shabazz called, and when it looked like Calgary might be backed up, they get much better field position. Back to the 34. Danny Machoch's team trailing by 3. They've lost 4 of 5. Trying to stay in the Western Division race. And the Calgary Stampeders right now with the hammer. Can Henry Burris continue to march this football and kill the clock, protecting the lead here in the second half. Reynolds straight ahead to the 39. 5 yards for Joffrey Reynolds.
And Jeff Pilon is the right side of the line. He's the guy who starts there, and he's pretty battered up, but look at him in here. There he goes. They bring in Rambo to help out as sort of a tight end, but he takes that penetration on right there for Ron Warner, pushes him forward and gives Joffrey Reynolds just a crease. That's not a tan on that right arm. That's bumps and bruises.
2nd and 4, play action, first down. A completion to Jermaine Copeland as the Stamps get a little bit more of a Jeff Pilon grip on this game.
All Henry Burris really needs is another first down, maybe 2 more, and he can basically punt the ball away and make Ricky Ray drive the field with very little time on the clock. That's a tough throw to make in traffic. He cuts it in there to Copeland, who is secure with the ball.
Copeland a touchdown catch in the game. 5 grabs, 53 yards. At the 48, a Stamp first down. Back to Reynolds. And 2 to 3 as Abdullah and Shannon Garrett stop Joffrey Reynolds.
Yeah, Shannon Garrett said, forget about pass coverage. He knows the Calgary Stampeders are going to try and control it, run the clock down with Joffrey Reynolds. So from the outside coming in, Shannon Garrett left his coverage responsibilities and shot right in there. He's the guy who made the tackle on Joffrey Reynolds, and now it's 2nd and long.
Passing situation, Kenny Anatolu checks in for Ron Warner. Eskimos need a stop. Another first down will be a dagger here for Calgary. Quarterback draw. Henry Burris has the first down. A huge run by Burris to give him another first down, and
that may do it. That may be enough. Now, you never say that in the Canadian Football League, because as long as there's a few seconds, there's a chance. But this kind of run will just put a dagger in your heart on defense, because Gas jumps Joffrey Reynolds thinking that he's got to take Reynolds away for screen draw possibilities. That would be the most high percentage pass. And then Burris runs on his own.
Burris 55 yards rushing. It's the 6th time this year Henry Burris over 50 yards on the ground in a game. Reynolds hit in the backfield. Takes it outside and will get 200 or 300 yards. He'll stop the clock with 39 seconds to go. But the Stampeders poised now to win 2 in a row for the first time this season and win the Labor Day set for the first time back-to-back since '98.
That year, the Edmonton Eskimos were coached by Kay Stevenson. It was a year the Eskimos wanted to forget. The Stampeders won the Grey Cup that season with Jeff Garcia.
The Eskimos do have a timeout. They need a stop here, and there won't be much time left. Burris again, calling his own number. And tripped up at the 40. Shannon Garrett once again. We only have to go back to '98. The timeout is called here. Labor Day '98. Couple of good-looking guys called the game.
Oh man, where'd they find that? Yikes.
And Dave Dickinson was the quarterback. Kelvin Anderson a touchdown. There's Jeff Garcia in the rematch. And Vince Danielson stretching out in the end zone. Not bad to go. Dickinson one game, Garcia the next.
How about that for a 1-2 punch?
And Henry Burris watching on the sidelines is number 3. Henry's got his fingerprints all over this potential sweep, but it's not done. 33 seconds to go. And the Eskimos, the decision here is, do you try a 46-yard field goal?
I don't know. You know what? On the natural surface in Commonwealth, to try a field goal here, risky in a big way, because any miss is run out for 1.
So it is O'Mani.
And you got offensive linemen covering. O'Mani's in to punt it, try and make it, put it in the coffin corner. He can kick it out of bounds inside the 20. A lot of pressure on him right now to do that, to not put it in the end zone.
cards alive.
Tompkins, will he get a chance for
off the
right
side
off
of
the
his
side
foot.
of his foot? So they don't get a chance to pin him deep.
And was that a penalty? Was that out before the 20?
They are going
It
to,
is.
yes, they mark it at the 21.
Yes, it is.
So it is a penalty, but you won't likely have him re-kick here, would you? You take it at the 21.
Well, with Ricky Ray, you may decide to do that, but another punt gives Tompkins a chance.
Yeah, they're going to decline because they don't want to give O'Malley a chance to do better than that.
Yeah, they'll put
Legal
Ricky
punt
Ray.
out of bounds. Calgary number 2. Penalties decline. First down, Edmonton.
They'll put Ricky Ray out there, but you still have to execute it, and Duncan O'Malley can't get it done here. The reaction from his head coach when he sees that one go off the side of his foot. That's the right strategy, and he didn't get the execution from his punter.
So, 29 seconds on the clock. Edmonton has used its timeout, but they do have some life, down by 3. Need about 50 yards. They might get it right here. Tucker can't bring it down. He was open for a moment, but again, Dwayne Carpenter broke up the play.
Yeah, but Carpenter's got to be careful here. Tucker will win this jump ball more than he will lose it, and Carpenter waits for the ball to come to him rather than go up and knocking it down. He tried to wait for that to come into his stomach, and Tucker almost cut underneath it. That's the only thing the Calgary Stampeders can't give up is the big play.
I want to go back to the very first play of the game. Dwayne Carpenter saved a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
It turned out to be worth 4 points. In a 3-point game, that play may be the difference. Ebel slips, and the Eskimos have 1 down left. 3rd down, 19 seconds on the clock.
Here's what they'll do now. The Edmonton Eskimos are going to try and load it up. That bunch formation has been good for them with Nowacki down the middle. Now, Stampeders on the other side will loosen up their linebackers. The linebackers will be about 4, 5, maybe even 6 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. And saying to Ricky Ray, you've got to throw it underneath. We make the tackle. It's game over. Ray's got to force it now. There's that bunch.
3rd and 10, and they still need 50 for field goal range. Ricky Ray, open man. Tucker's got a catch. Still life with 14 seconds. At the 39-yard line. And they're about 26, 30 yards short.
Stampeders now can't loosen up too much. They can on that 3rd down, but now they can't because Ray has probably 2 or 3 plays.
Still need 30 yards for realistic Sean Fleming range. Underneath it goes Peterson. Not much there. 6 seconds on the clock. Remember, Sean Fleming has missed 2 in this game, and when they dissect this one, there'll be a lot of missed opportunities.
Ray needs some time to throw now. He's going to have to buy some time and hit one deep.
Need a bomb or a penalty, and they may not get either one. Karan Williams had him in the grasp, and this game is over. And Tom Higgins and the Stamps will celebrate back-to-back victories on Labor Day week in Alberta. Well, it's time now for the Friday Night Gladiator, brought to you by Castrol. More than just oil.
Good football game
Liquid
tonight.
Engineering.
Honorable mention goes to Tyler Ebel for the Edmonton Eskimos, but the adjustment made in the second half to run the ball off that right side made the difference for the Calgary Stampeders. Jeff Pilon was dominant on that right side of the offensive line. Honorable mention to Bobby Singh. Jeff Pilon is our gladiator tonight as the Stampeders run the ball in the 3rd quarter.
Tonight's Gladiator receives a Movado Series 800 watch. Movado, the art of performance.
And we'll get the extra large strap for Jeff Pilon. Well deserved. That O-line made the difference in the second half of this football game.
A 3-point win. Calgary prevails.